Hello, family, and thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Dr. L, the Parent Whisperer. We are here today with an amazing lady, Miss Avery Russell. Did I say that correct?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Wonderful. So here we are at the Role Model Makers Experts Cafe, and I wanted to tell our audience members how I came to meet you. I've had the opportunity to see you at different meetings. I love how you presented yourself and the message that you have. So I really wanted you guys to hear what Avery has to say. So without further ado, thank you, Avery, for being here with us today. I know that you are super busy. Please tell our audience members, which are parents and parent entrepreneurs, basically, typically, like, first of all, how did you end up doing what you do, and why should they focus and concentrate on this?
Hi, everyone. So I am a fellow parent myself. I stayed home and raised my four children, two boys, two girls, and they are all now in their 20s. And I knew that during the teen years, there was a lot of discord and frustration on my part because I felt like I was losing my babies, and I wanted them to grow up. I wanted them to, succeed as adults, but definitely, I was, I think, just kind of suffering my own personal stuff. Like I didn't know the new language with the teenagers. And so when my youngest was in high school, I started seeking for that. And I found an amazing coaching course that a friend had recommended. And I thought I was going to take I thought I was going to take the coaching course because I had a decorating business, and I thought, oh, this will be really good for me to learn how to listen really well to my clients. I probably underneath was thinking, I really need to learn how to listen to my kids really well. But anyway, once I got into the class, I suddenly realized that I had found my passion, that coaching other people to help them figure out where they're blocked, how to move past it, how to go after what they truly value in life, what really fulfills them, has definitely become my passion. And it was just a natural thing for me to do, to focus in on parents raising teens, because that was definitely a tough time in my life. The discord with not all of my kids, but certainly some of them was heartbreaking. There were times when I thought they were never going to talk to me again. I was going to lose them forever. And I didn't know how to mend those fences. And right. I wish I had the tools I now have.
Parenting is always not easy anyways to begin
Yeah.
with. And on top of that, when you get to the teenage years, they're really trying to establish their own identity and testing the rules and the boundaries and everything else. So,
Exactly.
and you never know which of your children is going to be the one that is going to test it and which one is going to go through it, right?
Right.
So it's kind of difficult to prepare for it in that sense, but having that information and the knowledge that you're describing now is really indispensable. Like, we hear about the stories, but the reality is until you're in it, you don't get to really practice what you've learned. Right.
Right.
Oh, very
Yeah.
cool. All right.
Yeah.
So Avery, so what was the turning point, or what was the pain point that made you really recognize these tools as valuable tools?
Because I started using them in my family. Even though my kids were a little bit older, I guess I still had two teenagers and two young 20 somethings when I first started coaching. And automatically, and not just with my kids, with my husband, was a huge turning point too. I suddenly had some language and some understanding, some kind of inside view of what was really important to me. Was it right? Like, did I want to be right in an argument, or did I want to deserve respect, or did I want to earn respect? And you flip the coin too, because if you're not, you think you're respecting, but maybe you're not, and you flip it, and if your kids who you're still kind of treating as kids, they're fighting to be adults, and they want to be seen as adults,
Right.
and they flip-flop, and it's like a bit of a roller coaster ride. But understanding, like, being centered in yourself, and not, getting on that roller coaster ride with them was a huge turning point for me, thinking, okay, so they're stressed. I don't have to fix this anymore. They know how to fix this.
Right.
What I need to do is listen, and be their sounding board, be their champion, be empathetic, whatever, is needed in the room.
Wow,
And
you just
yeah,
mentioned two things simultaneously. I'm not sure if our audience members caught this. One of them, the challenge is that you never know which one you're going to get, the one that's striving to be an adult or the one that's still a kid.
yeah,
And then the other one is the fact that what you just mentioned, that how are you showing up and how are you role modeling this? That if you can stay centered despite all the distractions and the pressures, that's an important lesson to teach a child that's about to go into the real world and is going to get pulled in many different directions and priorities and so on and so forth, to be able
yes.
to stay centered, stay true to their identity, and not be swayed, peer pressure, all of those things. Wow.
And it
That,
feels like it's a teenager's job to just like push you off of that centered, kiltered. I mean, you kind of get pretty used to it. When they're little, they throw a tantrum. It's not going to last forever. They're going to be happy and hugging you and kissing you like 10 minutes later.
right.
Not so much in the teen years.
Exactly. And actually, what you also alluded to was really important too, that the kids come into the teenage years as kids. So your relationship with them is that of a parent and child. But then
Mhm.
on the other side of the teen years, it's not a parent-child relationship now. It's a parent and young adult, almost like a friendship type of a situation. So that evolution of your relationship from the child to the young adult,
Yeah.
that it can be beautiful, it could be painful, right?
Yeah. And yeah, so that's the trick. We as human beings are never done growing, and you feel like you're put into this parent role where you know everything for 12 years of the kid's life, and then suddenly, and they're very happy to remind you know nothing. And that's a blow to the ego, like, well, I've done a pretty good job so far, now you think I know nothing. um and it's fine to ask my kids for tech help, because I do know nothing when it comes to tech compared to what they know.
Right.
But the reality is you as a parent need to open up and say, yeah, I need to grow a little bit. I need to learn how to be a parent of teenagers.
Got it. Got it. Perfect. So what are the typical challenges that parents really come to you? Like the things that they complain to you about? So we see if our audience members resonates with this.
Yeah, it's so the clients I have, there's a lot who pretty much have the same thing. It's the kids aren't listening to me. The kids are doing things that, are outside of anything I ever taught them. They're disrespecting me, or they're, I just don't understand them. I wasn't like this.
Uh,
And really it's about readjusting the parents so that they can meet the kids where they are, because you can't mold those kids into your box anymore. They want their own box. And when you try and keep them in your box, that's where the discord happens, and that's when the parents start complaining. They're disobeying me, they're not listening, they won't put down their phones, they won't go to school, they're not motivated. And you got to really turn around and say why, like, and ask the questions, what does motivate them? And so the parents that I've worked with have seen the light and seen, oh, okay, so my daughter does want to go out to dinner with me and be on her phone the entire time we're there. So how do I work with that? Rather than forcing her to put her phone down or, make her give it to me, where's the Where's the medium?
Medium, got it. Have you noticed a change or a shift over the years as far as the challenge points, as far as the kids are concerned? Like, for instance, technology wasn't there when I was growing up. Now it
I
is, right?
know, I know. That's a hard edge for a lot of parents because they didn't grow up with a phone in their pocket and, games in their pocket or the video games. It's a huge deal. And in my 12-week parent program, we do a whole 3 weeks just on tech and how to help parents navigate tech with their kids.
All right, very cool. So
So that's a fun one.
what are some of the tips that you have for our audience members, things that they could actually start implementing right after watching this, that could make a meaningful impact as far as how they connect to their kids and how they grow together?
Yeah. So communication is key, and communicating with teens is where, a lot of people find that big discord where the kid's not listening to me. I don't know how to talk to them. They won't talk to me. They're in their room all day. Right. So the big tip there is to find that line of communication. And one thing that really works well is if you write a letter to your child and say, "Dear child, this is what I fear for you." Open your heart. Let them know what your fears are for them.
Mm.
Or you write to them and write them a letter and say, "Dear child, this is what delights me about you." And then share it. And then ask them to write you a letter. "Dear mom or dad, or mom and dad, this is what I would like you to know about me." That's like a game changer. That opens the line of communication, and it gives you a starting point to have a conversation. And you can do that this month. Next month, it might be out the window, but you've got that little, piece that you can start with.
Right. Avery, you mentioned something really huge, which is the fact that emotional intelligence is something that you gain through practice. And if they
Mhm.
see you practice it, and they're much more inclined and motivated to actually do so as well. And then,
Yeah.
like you said, we know communication is huge in relationships, but somehow we still end up in a lot of messes despite knowing that communication oftentimes is at the center of it. But what
Well,
you just described with this letter is beautiful and a
thank
great
you.
way to be non-confrontational, and in a great way share about ourselves instead of talking about what you like or don't like about them, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just such a beautiful way to open up and be vulnerable with your child safely and non-confrontationally. And, I remember when I was a kid and I would go out with my friends and my dad would be worried and he would say, "Oh, I'm not worried about what you're going to do. I'm worried that, someone's going to grab you and, take you away or
Mm.
something." And I'd look at him like, "What?" Like, you're telling me this right when I'm walking out the door. That's just stress.
That's true.
And I'm going to say, "Sorry, bye."
Yeah, whatever. Right. Awesome. Very cool. All right. So what have you experienced yourself as a result of practicing this? How have your kids, or how have you seen other kids open up
Yeah.
and communicate in the process?
Well, oh gosh. So it's been, as I said, I had my own journeys with each of my kids. My eldest was my toughest because he is the least like me. And I just didn't understand the way he thought. And I'm an extrovert, he's an introvert. It was very challenging. So I know I want to be in relationship with him. So I choose to be in relationship with him. And so how do I get to be in relationship with him? I meet him where he is. I know if I start asking a million questions, he's going to be overwhelmed. So I
Mm.
don't do that. I work with him and I honor him. If he's not in the mood to talk, then I'm like, "Well, I would like to talk to you. When can we talk?" It's much less pushy. It's more of a gentle pull.
Right. And on that topic, actually, what you're just describing there, nowadays, with all the demands and requirements that go into what a teenager is supposed to do so that we know where they're going to be at the end of their teen years, um, it's sometimes difficult and we kind of stifle their personality and get them disconnected from what they truly want or what their identity is, right? So what you just described actually is really important because it that gentle pulling draws out the personality, and they shouldn't be ashamed or afraid of expressing that in the
Yeah.
world. So that is very huge. And if any of our audience members are having difficulty with that disconnection, with that ability of not only communicating, but to really see where your teen is headed,
Yeah.
I definitely recommend what you just mentioned. That's a very key point there. Wow, Avery, I know you have so many keys and little gems that you could share. This was just the tip of the iceberg, basically. How can people find out more about you and follow you and possibly get some additional support in this time of challenge?
All right. Well, I do have, I post on Instagram 5 days a week. I have my confident parent tips of the day. Usually it's a theme for the week, and that's at avery.russell, two S's, two L's. And you can find me on my website, which is stellamariscoaching.com. And then you can find me on Instagram, Avery Russell, Stella Mars Coaching, and on Facebook as well, Avery Russell. And you can also book a coaching call with me if you want.
Oh, cool.
You can find that on my website. Book a
Awesome.
call.
Awesome. Well, I'll make sure that I'll put all the information in the description box for our audience members. Guys, definitely, I have three things for you. Number one, connect, because connecting is a great way to role model to your kids that they're not alone in this world, and they have to master that skill of reaching out for support, reaching out and connect to other human beings. We are social creatures. So I definitely encourage you to check the description box, click on those links, and seek out to connect with Avery. Secondly, if you haven't already done so, make sure that you click subscribe and like so you get notified of the latest information that is out there as the experts come in and present their expertise, present their gifts. And that reminds me of the last one, which is actually make sure that you actually take Avery up on that offer and check her calendar out and book a time with her so that you can actually have a dialogue and see where you might actually be able to best serve not only your child, but also yourself and your sanity during these years, and go from there. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Avery, thank you again for being here and taking time to share these pearls with us. Any final words before we finish this session?
Well, it has been a pleasure speaking with you, Dr. L. Thank you so much. I love this community. It has been such a great place to be with other people who just love to help families and connect and be role model makers. I mean, I can only imagine, as we grow, the world that we're going to create where everybody is on the same page and not so discordant. So thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. Thank you. See you guys later. Cheers.
Bye.